President Donald Trump has surrounded Venezuela with what he calls the largest armada ever assembled in the history of South America. There are US bombers, fighter aircraft, there is a US aircraft carrier, warships, and a nuclear submarine in the Caribbean facing off against Venezuela. President Trump has designated the government of Nicolás Maduro as a foreign terrorist organization. He has ordered what he calls a complete and total blockade of all sanctioned oil tankers going in and out of Venezuela. Now, the first such tanker was seized recently, and there are plans to capture more such vessels. The aim is to starve and cripple Venezuela, which depends on oil money for over half its annual revenues. Now, Venezuela also has one of the world's largest proven oil reserves. That's another reason why the United States is so interested in this country. Now, the US seems to be following past precedent. Trump recently reiterated the Monroe Doctrine in the US national security strategy, where the US holds sway in the Western Hemisphere. That's what the new national security strategy doctrine says. Now, Trump's idol Ronald Reagan invaded Grenada, overthrew the regime in 1983. Another US President, George W. Bush, invaded Iraq and deposed Saddam Hussein in 2003. But Venezuela is an entirely different kettle of fish. The US has deployed the world's largest aircraft carrier there. The USS Gerald Ford, several warships, nuclear submarines in the region. But the US has just over 10,000 military personnel around Venezuela. It will need over 100,000 troops to invade and capture Venezuela. That's a country that's nearly 1 million square kilometers. That's 1/3 the size of India. Now, the US invaded Iraq with over 130,000 personnel, and even then, they fought a bloody insurgency lasting over 2 decades, in which they spent trillions of dollars and lost thousands of soldiers. Trump has still not ruled out military options, including land action. But this is where Trump faces his biggest obstacle: the US Congress. He cannot invade Venezuela without explicit congressional approval. Congress recently rejected bipartisan war powers resolutions that would have required approval for further escalation, including land strikes or a broader invasion of Venezuela. Now, in the current context, the Trump administration has conducted strikes on alleged drug smuggling boats linked to Venezuela. They framed them as national security measures. They, of course, continue to embargo tankers sailing in and out of Venezuela. And it is important to note that, of course, presidents from both Democrats and Republican parties have initiated military actions without prior congressional approval. But these have only been for limited strikes, deployments, or small-scale operations like Reagan in Grenada, Clinton in Kosovo, and Obama in Libya. These actions are justified as falling short of war or responding to national interests or emergencies. Now, with no full-scale invasion of Venezuela possible, it's largely now a question of who blinks first in this great Caribbean face-off. Will it be Trump or will it be President Maduro?